with chapters devoted to placing on record the kind of man he was, and more will still be written. Today, we gather not merely to unveil another book, but to reflect on a life that left an indelible imprint on the history of our nation. We are here to honor and preserve the legacy of late President Muhammadu Buhari, a soldier, a statesman, and a leader whose life was defined by discipline, sacrifice, and unwavering belief in the unity and future of Nigeria. We're here to witness the official presentation of the book titled From Soldier to Statesman, The Legacy of Muhammadu Buhari. Your Excellencies, Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on this note, it's my pleasure to invite the governor of the home state of President Muhammadu Buhari, His Excellency Governor Dikko Amaru Rada, to give his welcome address. Your Excellency.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Your Excellency, our dear father, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Your Excellency, the wife of the President, Senator Remi Tinubu, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Gambia, Your Excellency, the wife of the Vice President, Your Excellency, our dear mother, the wife of the late President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President Muhammadu Buhari, I'm sorry. Your Excellencies, the governors, Your Excellencies, members of the Federal Executive Council, members of the National Assembly, my dear wife, Haji Azulay, members of the immediate family of the late President Muhammadu Buhari, the Chief of Staff, National Security Advisors, Your Royal Highnesses, His Eminent the Sultan of Sokoto, and Royal Highnesses here present, distinguished friends, family, and relatives of the late President Muhammadu Buhari, members of the diplomatic corps, traditional leaders, respected elders of the nation, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon and welcome to this occasion. The life and the person of our beloved father, the late President Muhammadu Buhari, left an indelible mark in our lives. It is with profound honor and gratitude and deep sense of responsibility that I welcome you to this occasion to remember him. As we gather to launch a book about his life, we know that no number of words can do justice to his dedication to Nigeria, to its poor people, and to its national development. As a soldier, he was willing to die for this nation. As a statesman, he fought against all odds and lived to deliver on the mandate bestowed on him by this nation. President Muhammadu Buhari shaped the expectation between the leaders and the governed. He set the standard for public trust and will remain a guiding light for many of us in public service. We are grateful to this partnership between our President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and our dear late President Muhammadu Buhari. It was a partnership that achieved the impossible in 2015 and brought about a number of chapters in our nation's history. Mr. President, there is no better successor to the legacy of our late President than yourself. Your dedication to this success and the vast amount of support you provided paved way for many of us to deliver for our people under all progressive Congress. We will remain eternally grateful to you. You have a sense of unity and profound belief in realizing the full potential of our nation. It requires the support of every one of us, and you will receive it, sir. When the news of the passing of our late president came to me, like many Nigerians, it overwhelmed my heart and created a void I was certain will never be filled. Our people lost a beacon of hope and a depender of public trust. The entire country felt this loss and shared the grief with his family. The stories of his life become the topic of conversation across the nation. He was an honest man, a simple man. He cared about people. He was a great soldier and a perfect gentleman. He can be funny and light-hearted. He respected the law and enforced it. He is not corrupt and always wants to be judicious with public resources. Above all, he is a great family man. Many personal stories remain with many people sat here today, and we will never know all of it. I appeal to all Nigerians that as we tell the stories of our late president, we embody the positives and stimulate those principles of our life. The moral authority is commanded as a leader is undeniable, and we all do well to follow his footsteps. The Buhari family, led by our dear mother, Hajiya Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, your children, grandchildren, and extended family members deserve our condolence and admiration for their courage during the time of grief. You shared a personal journey with the whole nation graciously and generously. Our love and prayer will remain with all of you forever. The family has seized this opportunity of this book launch to continue the people-focused legacy of our late President Muhammadu Buhari. They have generously pledged the proceeds of this book to support the late Buhari humanitarian aspiration in education and health. May Allah make this project a success, reward you all in life and next. Amen. I extend my sincere congratulations to the author of this book. Your diligent effort in gathering testimonies, verifying facts, maintaining an objective stance have made a valuable contribution to public good. The book presents a balanced perspective to avoid both undue praise and unfair criticism, thereby offering our nation an informative account for future generations. Your commitment to rigor and impartiality and integrity is greatly appreciated. Soon, we will have the opportunity to hear from both the reviewer and our guest of honor. Together, let us listen, depart with a renewed sense of purpose. But before we begin, it would like to extend another warm welcome to each of you. May this gathering offer lasting warmth and insightful conversations and a sense of direction that remains with all for a very long time. May Almighty Allah grant mercy to the soul of our departed soul, the soul of the late President Muhammadu Buhari, who will give his shortcoming, admit him in Jannatul Firdaus. May he comfort our mother and the entire family. May he guide and protect our President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Bless our leaders, heal our land, and keep Nigeria in unity and peace. On behalf of myself the government and the people of Katsina State, and the entire family of the late President Muhammadu Buhari, we welcome you all to this book presentation. Barka da zuwa, Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency Governor Diko Rada of Katsina State. Throughout the burial process, the governor received a lot of visitors within and outside the country. And it is on record that the governor was very calm and composed and resolute all through the period. I think the Governor Rada deserves a round of applause for that. Late President Muhammadu Buhari has been described variously: honest, transparent, incorruptible, unifier, wanted the best for the country, and in doing this, a lot of people worked with them. Some of them are here today, and some of them will be saying few words about him. We'll start with General Buba Marwa, the chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. He was military governor of Lagos and Borno State, we all know that. And for doing a good job at NDLEA, the president just recently approved the renewal of his tenure. General Marwa.
Your Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Your Excellency, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, our esteemed First Lady, Your Excellency, Adama Barrow, President of the Republic of Gambia, Your Excellency, Dr. Aisha Buhari, former First Lady, Your Excellency, wife of the Vice President, His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, the Buhari family, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. I am deeply honored to stand here today to celebrate the legacy of a man, a true Nigerian soldier, statesman, and leader, by excellence, former President Muhammadu Buhari. I should just touch the tip of the iceberg of my interpersonal relationship with him, which would give us a small gleam into his persona. Life is full of coincidences. My father actually served with General Buhari when he was a lieutenant in 1963. I was 9 in primary 4 in Lafenwa, Abeokuta, 2nd Battalion. He told me this himself one day under the shade of a tree in his Kaduna residence, that he served first in Abeokuta when he was commissioned. And I said, but my dad, we were all there at the time. Of course, I didn't know him. I was just a child. I only came to know him 11 years afterwards, in 1974. At the time, I was serving in a 3-recce regiment in Port Harcourt, and he had just been posted in as the Colonel General Staff of the division. He was slim, tall, no pot belly, soft-spoken, and he wore his starched uniform well. All the officers respected and admired him, and he was highly regarded. But my proximity to him increased in 1977-78 when I was ADC to General Tiwad Anjuma, then Chief of Army Staff. He was then Minister of Petroleum. He often consulted with the chief then, and when he came to the office, he was never harsh to us young officers. He was kind easygoing, and he chatted with us. And occasionally when he came to see the general, and he was too busy to see him at that particular moment because he was working, he waited patiently, unlike some of his colleagues, who, I will not repeat some of the words that they used, most unkind remarks sometimes, but he was always calm and happy. And his residence was actually just behind the ADC's residence. He lived then on Thompson Street at the back, and we lived on Webb Road in Ikoyi. And often when I take messages to him, there was my favorite kununzagi, always. That's what they used to serve in his residence. I won't forget it. Now, in 1983, when he was appointed GOC 3 Armored Division, we, the Corps Armor Officers, objected. We thought that he ought not to have been the GOC when there were officers like Sadu Ibrahim, who were Corps Armor Officers. And because of the nature of IBB then, as we all know, he was open to officers, loved, well regarded, and you could tell him almost anything. The Sultan can testify to that. He was always ready to listen. And so we approached him and said, why did he post an officer of the ST to be the first GOC Armored Division? And IBB said, calm down, I know what I'm doing. He's a fine officer and he will do well. He soon proved that when the Chadians entered Nigeria and took over some of our islands, General Buhari relocated his headquarters to Maiduguri, took charge of the operation personally, and flushed the Chadians out, and actually went on a pursuit. He went within artillery range of N'Djamena. And if he had not been stopped, maybe today Chad would have been another state of Nigeria. Now, the president was a man of principle. And when he takes a decision, he could be inflexible. No backtracking. Once he believes his reading is right, and I have the example to present. In 1981, he was the president of the exam panel that sets the exam for Captain to Major Staff College Qualifying Promotion Exam. There were 190 of us that wrote that exam. The written exam has 6 papers, of which you must score 50% in each to pass. And out of 190 of us, only 3 of us passed. There was nothing that was not done to persuade him to adjust so that more people will attend the staff college. He refused. He submitted 3 officers. And he was told, but the staff college takes about 100. What do we do? He said, close the staff college course for 1981. And these 3 officers sent them overseas to staff college. And he stood his ground. The rest, of course, is history. As it happens, throughout the period, he was a military head of state. I was away in America in the school, so I wasn't here completely throughout his tenure. But when I came back as military administrator of Lagos, he was chairman PTF. And we were now about to commission the asphalt plant. And I thought that with the record he set on infrastructure in PTF, he was the right person to invite to commission the asphalt plant. And so I flew to Abuja with my letter, presented it before him in his office, and requested if he could kindly commission the plans. He graciously agreed. On the day of the commissioning, as I was waiting for him in the airport in Lagos, I was going through the newspapers. The Punch newspaper of that morning had a cartoon of me and him. That cartoon depicted me pushing a wheelbarrow with trousers and singlet, sweating with a towel on my shoulder, building roads in Lagos. And it showed President Buhari far behind, opening his eyes and wondering, who is that man there? Then I said, I hope he has not seen this newspaper today. And I told my people, please, because we are going to ride in the same car, don't bring any today's newspaper near to this car, send it off. And so he arrived, and I received him, and he was sitting in the car. And I thanked God. I said, I'm sure he has not seen that terrible cartoon. As we were driving along, he then turned to me and said, did you see the cartoon today in the Punch? And he burst out laughing. And I looked at him carefully to see whether it was a fake laughter or genuine laughter. And I found that it was genuine. He was really laughing. And the sense of humor was extremely, extremely high. I joined politics with the CPC. He was, of course, as we all know, loved by the masses, actually adored by the masses. And in CPC, there was no money, as we all know. But somehow, he got those millions and millions of votes. What did he give? The CPC gave 6.2 million naira. I ran his campaign in Adamawa, 6.2 million naira. That could not pay for arranging the venue of where he was coming to address us, talk less of the whole campaign. And when I called our treasurer, Sadia Umar Farouk, at the time, 6.2 million naira, what am I going to do with this? He said, count yourself lucky. Some states got 4 million, and yet people in droves came after him. My next pivotal crossing with His Excellency President Buhari was with regards to PASIDA, Presidential Advisory Committee for the Elimination of Drug Abuse. The brain behind PASIDA, of course, was Her Excellency Dr. Aisha Buhari, who is right here with us. And soon after he appointed me into NDLEA chairmanship, there wasn't one single request that I placed before him, not one, which he did not approve. Barracks, vehicles, arms, equipment, recruitment, everything. And I'm happy to say that the support we received from President Buhari to the agency was continued and even amplified by his successor, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, who graciously renewed my tenure just 4 years ago, 4 weeks ago. Thank you very much for the honor, Your Excellency. And in closing, let me recall one important aspect of his character, which is encouraging subordinates and appointees. We made our largest seizure in the NDLEA in September 2022, 2.1 tons of cocaine. That is valued in today's 760 billion naira. And to my surprise, the president was in the UN in New York, and he actually phoned all the way to commend and congratulate us. And that went a long way in encouraging and raising the morale of our officers. And another aspect, quickly, is his generosity. I think most people think that he's tight-fisted. Well, that's not the experience that I had, because one day we were just talking, and I said, I'm going for a medical checkup. Then, as I was going out the door, he called me back. He said, I'm going to send to you. My mind never went that send was money. I thought it's an assignment that I was going to send. And eventually, he sent a very handsome amount. Look at the amount. If you can see it. Handsome amount, so he was quite generous. So wrapping up, the man whose legacy we celebrate today was a man of honor, a man of character, a man of integrity, and a man of principle, an officer and a gentleman, a man who loved the masses and the masses loved him back, a soldier who fought for the territorial integrity of Nigeria, a true statesman. May the Almighty Allah grant him Al-Jannah Firdausis and continue to protect and bless his family. And may the Almighty Allah continue to bless and protect His Excellency, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his esteemed family. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, General Buhari. He also had some adjectives for the late president: soft-spoken, wore his uniform well, easygoing, never harsh to younger officers. Let me use this opportunity to also acknowledge the presence of the wife of the vice president, Ajia Nana Shetima. She's here. So also is the former IGP, Alkali Baba. I also see some other aides of the former president. I see Malam Garba Shehu, I don't know why I didn't say him earlier, spokesperson of President Muhammadu Buhari, as well as the State Chief of Protocol there, Ambassador Lawal Kazauri. Let's give them a round of applause, please. I've been asked to remind other speakers that 3 minutes is what you have now. The general took some other people's time. Next to speak is the former Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Isiaka Olaleye Hamao, retired.
Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Your Excellency, the President of Gambia, President Adama Barrow. Your Excellency, the First Lady and the Mother of the Nation, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. Your Excellency, wife of the late President, Dr. Aisha Mohammed Buhari. Your Excellency, the wife of the Vice President, Ajia Nana Shetima. May I seek your permission to stand on the existing protocol. I stand before you today with profound gratitude, highly honored to contribute to this important occasion, celebrating the life and legacy of late President Muhammadu Buhari. History measures leaders not by battles won or office held, but by institutions strengthened and valued embodied when tested. President Buhari's journey from young soldier to head of state, from private citizen to elected president offers us a rare study in perseverance, principle, and leadership evolution across Nigeria's most consequential decades. Serving under the late president as chief of the air staff during a period of existential security challenges, I observed not merely a commander-in-chief issuing orders, but a statesman who understood profoundly that military power must always serve democratic governance, but not supplant it. President Buhari brought military discipline, structure, and process to civil governance, yet distinguished himself by recognizing that democratic leadership demands patience with plurality, responsiveness to civilian aspiration, and humility to be questioned by those you serve. Under his leadership, the armed forces received clear directives to protect Nigerian territorial integrity, secure our people, but remain subordinate to civilian authority. He trusted us with resources and responsibility while insisting we remain professional, apolitical, and accountable, a commitment that was foundational, not merely symbolic, in an era where democratic institutions globally face pressure. Though I'm yet to read the book, I'm convinced it will examine the structure built, policy implemented, and security operation conducted, as well as acquisition of military defense equipment for the armed forces. But President Muhammadu Buhari's most enduring contribution may be something less tangible. He demonstrated that one can transition from military to civilian rule, not just in title, but in temperament and philosophy. In an age of transactional politics, he remained committed to what he believed was right, even when unpopular. Whether one agreed with every decision or not, no one doubted he acted from conviction rather than from convenience. Personally, serving under President Buhari taught me that true leadership creates space for others to lead. He empowered service chiefs with autonomy while holding us accountable for results, trusting our professional military judgment while asking difficult questions. He understood that micromanagement and mission command cannot coexist, and he chose wisely. History will show we made significant progress against insurgency, banditry, and terrorism because he navigated civil-military relations with the wisdom of someone who lived on both sides. This book arrives at an opportune moment as Nigeria needs to study its leaders, not as saints or villains, but as complex human beings who navigated impossible choices in impossible times. President Buhari was neither perfect nor without criticism. No leader is. However, his journey offers a rare template for how soldier becomes statesman and how discipline serves democracy and how integrity survives the pressure of power. May I, at this point, commend the authors and publishers of this important documentation, while also thanking late President's wife, Her Excellency Dr. Aisha Buhari, and the entire Buhari family for sharing him with our nation for decades of service. And to all of us that are gathered here, let us commit to studying this legacy, not merely to praise or critique the past, but to extract wisdom for the future. This book's true measure will be whether it inspires the next generation of Nigerian leaders to serve with honor, lead with humility, and understand that transitioning from soldier to statesman means transforming mindset, not just changing uniforms. May late President Buhari's legacy continue to inform our collective journey towards a more secure, prosperous, and united Nigeria. Thank you very much. May God bless our president, and may God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Air Marshal Isiaka Amao, former Chief of Air Staff. Let me reiterate once again that for the benefit of those of us that will still be coming here to speak, kindly let us stick to the 3 minutes. Please edit your speech before you get here to 3 minutes. Thank you very much. Let me also recognize here Ajia Aisha Tudiko, representing former First Lady Ajia Ture Yaradua. You're welcome. Also, let me also recognize the wife of the Deputy Senate President, Ajia Jibrin. You're welcome. Next to speak is Mr. Yusuf Magaji Bichi, former Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS. Oh, it's very good. He doesn't have a speech. We will save time, yes.
Your Excellency, Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Your Excellency, the President of Gambia, Your Excellency, the First Lady of Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished Senator Remu Tinubu, Your Excellency, the former First Lady, Mrs. Buhari, Your Excellencies, the governors here present, the Sultan of Sokoto, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I felt honored standing before you to respectfully comment on a father, a gallant soldier, a commander, and people's general, that is late President Buhari. You will agree with me that even in death, General Buhari earned the respect and support or commendation of teeming supporters of his from all walks of life. This is even demonstrated here on this occasion or at this gathering, which was initiated by his loving wife, his children, other supporters, and endorsed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who supported the occasion. President Tinubu, as we know, is a brother, is a friend, is an ally, and political strategist of President Buhari. I recall in 2019, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was shuttling between Lagos and Abuja as master strategist to ensure that President Buhari got re-elected in 2019 for the second term. I was privileged to see part of the strategist marshaled out by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And it gave me confidence when a delegation from EU visited my office and raised concern that they hope none of the agencies will do something to rig the election in favor of General Buhari. Confidently, I replied to them that President Buhari has never and will never, ever ask anybody to rig an election for him. He had his consistent number of votes from the time he started contesting for an election in this country. So as such, he will never do that. Then, I told them that if you are thinking of somebody rigging an election here in this country, even though there is no perfect election anywhere in the world, we recall in America, for instance, when Al Gore said, it is too close to call, but it is not going to happen here. Nobody is going to rig anybody here. After the election, when General Buhari won the election, the EU delegation, all of them came to me and said, congratulations. What you told us is the truth. I said, no. I have the opportunity of going through some strategies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I think he read The Arts of War, which said, war is politics with bloodshed, and politics is war without bloodshed. And he perfected everything. He reviewed it and ensured that all the predictions he made, they came to pass. The states that are considered with higher number of voters, Lagos, Kano, Bauchi, Katsina, and so on, all were cleared by President Buhari. And the moment you had this, you have an edge over your opponent. So they were convinced that definitely the election was free and fair. And that is the strategy we stood on. Let me just also tell you that during my working experience, working under President Buhari, I learned a lot of things. One, aside from him being an honest person, very meticulous, he is a man of justice and fairness. You cannot write any report on him or bring any report on him on somebody, and then he will just accept it. He has to scrutinize it, ask you questions, and so on. So whenever we got to him, we felt you have to know what you are doing before you even start talking to him. because he will take you up. And especially the intelligence report, he will tell you that, look, I have so many sources to verify your report. Based on that, he put you on your toes. 2, President Buhari has never ever interfered in what we do. When he assigned us to investigate the petition against the then CBN governor, I went back to him and said, sir, in the course of this investigation, I will step on toes. Then he looked at me, adjusted his seat, and asked me, have I ever asked you or interfered with your job? I said, never, sir. You have not. He said, okay, go. Even if it is Yusuf, you find one thing, deal with him. Don't come back to me. I also learned something from him. He is very fearless. On 2 different occasions, we had a report that if you attend an occasion in one of the states, or in Kogi, for instance, there will be a breach of security. That report was passed to him when they were airborne, and the CSO and the SCOP told him that there are some people who are trying to breach the security when you arrive in Kogi. So we better turn and return to Abuja. He said, I will not. I must attend that occasion. Then he looked at the CSO and said, tell your DG, why are you here? If you can't take measures to safeguard or to save lives and property, then you have no business being there. That forced us to take a lot of measures to ensure that that breach of security did not occur. As a matter of fact, the man who was there is a suicide bomber. He detonated himself elsewhere when he discovered that he cannot penetrate the venue. When he was to go to Maiduguri also, we alerted him of possible security breach. He said, no, he must attend, he must go. So on several occasions, when you tell him about the security report, he will tell you, why are you there? He challenged you. You must put measures in place to safeguard lives and property, not only of the dignitaries, but all and sundry. President Buhari has a sense of humor. When I went to him and said, sir, there is a social media report saying that, or inviting people to your wedding party. He looked at me and laughed. So I dismissed myself. When I came out, I said, well, this president is still a born-again Democrat. Instead of him to ask me to go and investigate the source of that report, he just dismissed it. And I said, well, he still believes in one man, one vote. That is, he will never add another wife. May God bless his soul. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, our former Director General of the Department of State Services, Mr. Yusuf Bichi. Of course, the former president never interfered in people's jobs, that we knew. and he was never interested in rigging, and he had these 12 million captive votes. That was why the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had to step in, because he knew this man would not do anything illegal to make himself president. And he knew that going on that trajectory, it wasn't likely to be. We need to give a big clap to the president for making these 12 million votes to transit into the presidency. Kindly give him a round of applause. While this event was going on, Governor Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau State joined us. So also the Deputy Governor of Kebbi State, Tafida Puma, representing his governor, also came in. Let's welcome them, please. Next to speak, and I'm sure this one will stick to 2 minutes. I know him very well, is Vice Admiral Awal Zubeiru Gambo. He was the former Chief of Naval Staff. Naval guys are very honorable. They don't waste time at all.
Our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic, our special guest, the President of the Gambia, Adama Barrow, our Mother of the Nation, Senator Remi Tinubu CON, our former First Lady and wife of the late President, Dr. Aisha Buhari, the wife of the Vice President, Ajia Nana Shetima. Your Excellencies, our governors here present, I also pass my greetings to our royal fathers through the Sultan of Sokoto. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a privilege to speak on the late president. In the military, I would have said it's above my knowledge, but I was privileged to serve under him as the 21st Indigenous Chief of the Naval Staff. And I'll go straight to my remarks on him. They say leadership is not defined by power, but by discipline, accountability, and unwavering service to the state, unquote. The late President Muhammadu Buhari was a leader defined by discipline, integrity, and compassion, a man whose mission was clear. He carried with him a rare devotion to the ordinary Nigerian, a steady resolve to build a nation where the downtrodden could rise with dignity, hence justifying the Baba Go Slow approach as cautious governance, prioritizing careful decisions over rapid actions that could harm national outcomes. During his stewardship, Nigeria witnessed the unfolding of dreams long deferred. Roads stretched further, rail lines found new life, and the majestic Second Niger Bridge rose like a promise fulfilled. In the fields, our farmers felt a new dawn as agriculture blossomed, lifting the nation towards self-reliance and pride. During his administration, national security was significantly enhanced through strategic investments and strong leadership. Specifically, and where I held sway, key achievements include the establishment and continental expansion of the Combined Maritime Task Force of the Gulf of Guinea, with Nigeria in a leadership role. The high-profile arrest of motor tanker Heroic Eden, averting substantial financial losses,
recognition of the Nigerian Navy as Africa's best, fleet renewal and local shipbuilding in our dockyard and shipyard, and the successful elimination of piracy in Nigerian waters to zero, culminating in Nigeria's delisting from the International Maritime Bureau list of piracy-prone countries, still subsisting. These measures reflect a systematic and effective approach to maritime and national security by leveraging technology through the Falcon 9 real-time maritime intelligence infrastructures. Through reforms such as the Petroleum Industry Act and the Treasury Single Account, he carved new pathways for transparency, stability, and national renewal, reflecting his guiding principle of consolidation as a driver of sustainable national development. He listened, he learned, and he built brick by brick, law by law, vision by vision. Those of us privileged to encounter him both personally and officially saw not just a leader, but a man anchored by purpose, a man who believed that legacy is not noise, but quiet, steady impact. In handing over to a successor equipped for reform, he ensured that the winds of progress will not cease. The accomplishments of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, including the effective execution of the ambitious subsidy removal, the presidential directive advancing digital governance, the successful legal affirmation of local government autonomy, and the comprehensive tax reforms designed to position Nigeria among the world's largest economies and a premier economic constitute substantive evidence to the late president's belief. It is said, and I quote, "A leader's duty does not end with office. It endures in the institutions and records he left behind," unquote. The man Buhari was a custodian of hope, a steward of duty, a sentinel of the nation's future. The winds of time will carry the truth of President Buhari's legacy to a just shore. May his soul repose in eternal peace, and may his enduring legacy continue to serve a source of inspiration for the nation he deeply cherished. May current and future leaders govern with wisdom and efficacy, and may God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria to greater heights. Amen. I thank the publisher of this book, Dr. Omole, for the beautiful work done. And I've also not read the book, but I'm sure all the speeches or remarks you have made are embedded in that book. God bless the president. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I was not proved wrong. He only spent 2 minutes, 48 seconds. Let's see if the new speaker is going to do better. Next, we have the 20th Inspector General of Police. Muhammadu Abubakar Adamu was IG from 2019 to 2021. He did very well there. Let's see how he's going to do with his minutes here.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, First Lady, Mrs. Distinguished Senator, Mrs. Remi Tinubu, President of the Gambia's President Adama Barrow, Mrs. the former First Lady, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, and the family, the executive governors that are here present, the traditional rulers, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we gather not merely to launch a book, but to reflect on the life, service, and touring legacy of a man whose patriotism shaped the course of our nation's security architecture. That was led President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. It is with a deep sense of respect, honor, and gratitude that I offer this remark on him, not just as a former Inspector General of Police who served under his leadership, but as one who witnessed firsthand his unwavering commitment to the safety and stability of Nigeria. Last President Buhari was a leader who understood clearly that no nation can thrive without security. He carried this conviction from his days as a military commander to his stewardship as a democratic president. For him, policing and national security were not just mere policy matters. They were moral obligations, responsibilities he bore with discipline, integrity, and a rare sense of duty. Under his administration, the Nigerian police witnessed some of the most decisive reforms in recent decades. Then President Buhari believed that a modern police force must be anchored on professionalism, accountability, and operational efficacy. He pursued this belief through actions, not words. He approved unprecedented investment in police infrastructure, in training institutions, and operational assets. For the first time in many years, specialized units received modern equipment to match evolving threats within the country. Training curricula within the police were upgraded. International partnerships were strengthened, and the force was repositioned to meet the demands of community-driven policing in a dynamic security environment. His support for the reorganization of the police operation across the 36 states and the FCT provided the flexibility we needed to respond more effectively to crises. He understood the importance of intelligence-led policing, and he backed its expansion with political will and material support. Late President Buhari has recognized that the welfare personnel is the backbone of efficiency. His administration initiated improvements in remuneration, pensions, and insurance framework for police officers. He approved recruitment expansion that injected new energy into the force and ensured a gradual correction of manpower shortages. These steps were not just administrative achievements, they were acts of leadership that restored dignity, hope, and pride to thousands of officers and their families. For those of us who served under him, late President Buhari set a tone of discipline that shaped our approach to duty. His expectations were high, but they were always accompanied by his unwavering support. He demanded integrity. He demanded fairness and courage. And he led by example, even in the face of criticism or misunderstanding. He remained guided by principles rather than by popularity. He believed in Nigeria with sincerity and simplicity that inspired confidence in those privileged to serve close to him. Today, as we launch this book in his honor, we are doing more than just documentary history. We are preserving the memory of a man whose leadership strengthened the foundations of policing in Nigeria. His legacy lives on in the officers who patrol our streets with renewed capacity, in the institutions that were reformed under his watch, and in the continued evaluation of our national security architecture. For me personally, it remains one of the greatest honors of my career to have served Nigeria under his guidance. I recall his counsel, his firmness, his patience, and his unwavering belief that Nigeria deserves peace and justice. These memories will continue to guide many of us who worked under him long after the pages of these books are closed. As I conclude, we honor him as we honor him today. May we all commit ourselves to sustaining the values he stood for. Those who are discipline, patriotism, integrity, and unshakable commitment to national security. May the soul of late President Muhammadu Buhari rest in perfect peace, and may his legacy continue to illuminate the path for present leaders and the future. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, the former IGP. Next on the program is the presentation of the book, and I would like to call on the author to come and do the presentation now. Dr. Omole, please.
The President and Commander-in-Chief, please permit me to associate myself with the established protocol. My task this afternoon is to give you a glimpse into the content of the book. And I will deliberately also ask questions that you will need to get the book to get the answer. This book arose from a simple yet significant challenge. A widely read portrait of Muhammadu Buhari that was written in 2014 was to be presented to the public this year. And I think the family felt that that book was already 10 years old, that the bulk of the activities of the late president would not have been captured in it. Hence, this book. But unlike other books that are many that may be written by Buhari, this is a book that involved speaking to people that were there when he was born and people that were there when he died. It's the most comprehensive compilation of the life, history, and legacy of Muhammadu Buhari by those that know him best. The book is 600 pages long. It answers several simple yet complex questions. The focus of the book is about the man, Muhammadu Buhari. Deliberately, we did not focus on his policies because that's the subject for his memoir. And those who served him, I'm sure, will write books more on his policies. Our interest was to convey the man, Muhammadu Buhari. What are his principles? A lot of what he did when he was president will become clearer if you read the earlier chapters that explain how his father died at the age of 2 or 3 years old. And he grew up with certain kinsmen as the prototype. He relied on them for many years. And how his way of thinking shaped his presidency. In my opinion, one of Buhari's greatest legacies is his children. As you will see in the book, they are forthright, objective, balanced, and imbued with strong emotional intelligence. You would have thought they would want to paint their father in saintly colors. That's not what I got. They were strong on his strength, and they did not shy away from his weaknesses. For me, there are lessons in this book for current and future leaders. Some of the key lessons. Number one, integrity is necessary in public office, but on its own, it is not sufficient. Personal honesty must be translated into systems, procurement rules, transparent accounts, audit trails. You must build guardrails against access capture. Succession is a duty, not a favor. Strategic communication is very key for any leader in politics. Now, what do you expect in the book? I'm just going to list a few things and leave you to find out in the book. What was wrong with Buhari when he was sick in the 2017-2018 years? The answer is in the book. What were the internal intrigues behind the sack of Lawal Daura as DSS boss? The answer is in the book. What was the role of the cabal in shaping the Buhari presidency? Why did they fight his family to a standstill? The answer is in the book. What was the plan of the cabal for the APC presidential primaries before it was thwarted just a few hours before the event? By the way, Mr. President, the cabal wanted somebody else to win that primary. The details are in the book. How was the CBN captured by the cabal? The answer is in the book. Was Buhari's signature forged? Was there a signature stamp? Did somebody else sign his signature? The answer is in the book. Why did Buhari resort, and this is one of those strange revelations you'll find in the book, why did Buhari resort to conversing with his family with pen and paper in his office? Because he said his office was bugged. Who bugged the office of the president? The answer is in the book. Was Buhari office and bedroom bugged? The answer is in the book. Why was it that several people gave account of Buhari about to give a speech and found out that the speech he approved was not the speech he was given? It's been swapped several times. The answer is in the book. What were Buhari's instructions during the NSAS? The answer is in the book. And finally, what killed President Buhari in July 2025? The answer is in the book. Personally, as I close, my experience working with President Buhari goes back to when I was invited to serve on the Presidential Working Group on Police Reform in Nigeria and also Police Wages Review Committee. President Buhari fully accepted all our recommendations. But writing this book has helped me to realize why those responsible did not implement those recommendations. Now it is clear to me that the gap between a president's good intention and visible outcome is filled with cabals who can destroy or make a presidency. Nigeria's journey will never depend on a single leader. However, leaders do influence the overall climate. If this book has one main appeal, it is for leaders to combine Buhari's personal integrity with a systemic mindset, safeguards for access, discipline with deadlines, reforms integrated with communication, and a deliberate succession planning. Ultimately, the last lesson from Buhari's record is this: a leader's integrity is a vital seed, but only strong systems can make things happen. Lastly, one of the things that I enjoyed in writing this book is this. I interviewed many people, some in their 90s, some young. Not once did the former First Lady or the Buhari family ask me, what did anybody say? They left the complete editorial judgment to me. Not one thing was taken out at their request. In fact, they've not seen many things I wrote. So that shows you their willingness to convey and reveal Buhari in all its formations. The next thing we will now do now is to present this book, or unveil this book. At this point, I will graciously like to invite Mr. President and the Buhari family and the First Lady for the unveiling of the book.
Dr. Omole, please also join them in the unveiling of the book. We have the President, Her Excellency, the wife of the former President, Dr. Omole has spoken extensively about what the book entails. At this point, we are witnessing the presentation and the unveiling of the book. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is about to unveil it, assisted by President of the Republic of the Gambia and the wife of the former president. Senator Oluremi Tinubu is also there. And so is the author of the book, Dr. Omole. That said, the unveiling of the book, From Soldier to Statesman, the legacy of Muhammadu Buhari. The personalities will now unveil the book and grab a copy each and show to the public. Thank you very much. As the President makes his way to his seat, accompanied by the other distinguished guests here, I would like to invite, for the vote of thanks at this event, Mrs. Adiza Nana Buhari, the daughter of the former president. Vote of thanks. Vote of thanks, please. Oh, she's seated behind. Please bear with us as she makes her way to the podium. Adiza Nana Buhari is the third daughter of President Muhammadu Buhari. She's known for her philanthropic work with organizations like the Africa Support and Empowerment Initiatives, and also with the Nigerian Peace Corps.
Your Excellencies, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Commander-in-Chief, GCFR, Your Excellency, the wife of the President, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Gambia, Adama Barrow, Your Excellency, the wife of the Vice President, Hajiya Nana Shatima, Your Excellency, our dear mother, Dr. Aisha Muhammad Buhari, His Eminence, the Sultan Sokoto, Your Majesty, Olu of Warri and his wife, representatives of the Oba of Benin, distinguished leaders of our nation, elders, friends of our family, our dear family members, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of our mother, Her Excellency, Dr. Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari, my siblings and the entire Buhari family, I thank you. Your presence today is a kindness we will not forget. You have honored our father and husband not only with your words, but also with prayers and embraces. Mr. President, our dear Daddy, thank you for being here and for the warmth of your tribute. You and our father shared a long journey of cooperation and service. Your words today carried that history with dignity and challenged all of us to turn memory into action for the good of Nigeria. We are forever grateful to you. To the First Lady, Her Excellency, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, thank you for standing by a family with compassion and grace with your women folk, the wife of the Vice President, wife of the Senate President, wife of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, wives of the governors, female ministers, wives of the service chiefs, wives of the ministers, wives of the senators, wives of the members of the House of Representatives, and the Oluremi Tinubu Support Group. You all reminded us that we are not alone. Your kindness gave us strength when we needed it the most. To our leaders across parties, governors, ministers, legislators, members of the judiciary, service chiefs, past and present, diplomats, traditional and religious leaders, thank you for standing with our family. You reminded us that beyond contest, there is country, and beyond offices, there is duty. This book captures more than just a record. It captures a rhythm, the rhythm of a life lived with restraint, steadiness, and a stubborn belief that public office is a trust. It is not a perfect story. No human story is. And it calls the next generation to build systems strong enough to carry good intentions all the way to good outcomes. To every young Nigerian listening, learn from his example: integrity, moderation, patience, and strive to go further. Build the institutions that make it easier to do what is right and harder to do what is wrong. If that becomes the legacy of the season, then our family's sorrow will be eased by a nation's progress. To the speakers and our gracious MC, thank you for bringing voice and structure to this event. To the protocol teams, security personnel, medical staff, ushers, media crew, and all unseen helpers who made this gathering possible, may you feel recognized and appreciated today. To the author, Mr. Charles Somoli, you have given our nation an honest book. You gathered facts, guarded testimonies, and resisted the temptation to make the story a story smaller than the man or larger than the truth. We are grateful for your scholarship and your care. Permit me a personal word. To many, he was the commander-in-chief. To us, he was simply Baba. We knew the quiet man whose prayer beads clicked softly before dawn, whose smile was modest but sincere, and whose first question at home was never about power but about people. Are they well? Are they safe? Are we doing enough? Those simple questions guided his public life. We also sincerely wish to thank Mr. President for his dedication to completing the National Armed Forces PTSD Center project in Abuja, which President Buhari began. This is a vital facility initiated by the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, DEPOA. It aims to offer comprehensive assessment, treatment, support, and counseling to our military personnel. Thank you, Mr. President, for your backing in bringing this project to completion. To those who traveled long distances, who left busy schedules, who sent messages and who prayed to us in mosques and churches, thank you. We have read your notes, we have felt your prayers. In our grief, your kindness has been a refuge. We conclude with a prayer. May Almighty Allah have mercy on the soul of our father, late former President Muhammadu Buhari. May Allah forgive his shortcomings, and may Jannatul Firdaus, may Allah grant him Jannatul Firdaus. May he comfort our mother and our family. May he bless the president, guide our leaders, heal our land, and keep Nigeria in unity and peace. From our hearts to yours, thank you for today, for the honor you have shown, and for the hope you carry with you as you leave this hall. May God bless you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, spokesperson for the family for today, Adiza Nana Buhari. Next is the moment we've been waiting for, the speech. He worked for him to make him president, and of course, he stood by him while he was president. In death, he honored him. He told the family, he told Dr. Aisha that he will be with you, and here he's seated close to you. Now is the time for him to stand up to give a tribute to one of Nigeria's most illustrious citizens, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Please come for your remarks.
seated. The President of the Gambia, my brother and our friend Adama Barrow, thank you for waiting and all your contributions to the ECOWAS. The First Lady of Nigeria, my darling wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, the wife of the Vice President, Nana Shettima, the former First Lady and the wife of my predecessor, Ajia Aisha Buhari. Well, congratulations for today. God bless you. All members of the National Assembly, the state governors, particularly the governor of Katsina, Kaduna, and all other governors, they are present. Members of the Federal Executive Council, members of the Buhari family, members of diplomatic corps, former state governors, former ministers, former security advisors, traditional rulers, particularly His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, former service chiefs and former IGPs, the book author and reviewer, gentlemen of the press, invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today, it is my profound honor to be here to celebrate the late President, Muhammadu Buhari, a leader who embodied quiet strength, discipline, and an enduring grace rooted in service to people, humanity, and the rest of the world. On this occasion of the launch of his biography, I extend the nation's warmest embrace to her, Aisha. You've seen so much, and you've supported him greatly. I know you miss him. The children and the grandchildren, you have my condolence. You will find comfort in knowing that the prayers of Nigerians are with you, and that the Buhari's name will continue to inspire noble services for generations yet unborn. The measure of a leader is simply not the offices he held or the motorcade that accompanied him. It was in what persists when sovereign falls silent. President Muhammadu Buhari left behind a reputation of integrity, a Spartan lifestyle, and the belief that public office is a trust and not a windfall. He was my friend, a compatriot, my partner. And I stand here not just, excuse me, as president, but as a brother, friend, and political partner who shared a journey with President Buhari throughout challenging times. Together we built a broad coalition, campaigned across the country, and proved that Nigeria could chart a new course. Our movement united diverse interests and achieved an historic victory in 2015 by unseating an incumbent president, thus reshaping Nigeria's political landscape. The coalition we built in 2014 is now the fastest growing political party in Africa today. And that growth continues. The book reinforces the public's memory. It outlines achievements and flaws, as all honest histories should do. It should motivate future leaders to learn lessons rather than repeat slogans. Buhari was just a simple man, honest, respected, unassuming, and full of good sense of humor in his simplicity. In that spirit, let us reflect on the enduring pillars of President Muhammadu Buhari's legacy. First, humility. President Buhari preferred simplicity over ornamentation. He believed that a leader must first discipline in himself before he can discipline a system. He lived modestly, and he carried the dignity of that modesty into power. Second, security. President Muhammadu Buhari recognized that security is the foundation of citizenship and prosperity. He invested in platforms and personnel, improved capacity across our armed forces, and pushed for reform that endured beyond headlines. He understood that safety requires protection, both in state and in its citizens. Third, with vision, he understood the importance of long-term thinking, constructing bridges, restoring railways, building roads, modernizing our airports, renewing critical infrastructure, while prioritizing maintenance and sustainability. Fourth, social justice. He believed in targeted social investment to ensure that the state did not ignore the poor and the vulnerable. These are the pillars of his legacy. But a legacy is given greater meaning when those who follow choose to continue what has been started. That is my duty, and I pledge that one today. President Muhammadu Buhari loved this country consistently, morning after morning, decision after decision, straight through to the oath he took. That is why even those who disagree with him often acknowledged his honesty. Our political journey together taught me that cooperation across differences is not weakness, it is wisdom. Nation building demands that we complete passionately and we compete dispassionately. Govern responsibly. President Muhammadu Buhari understood that the contest ends when the oath begins. In his memory, let us keep our politics honorable and our governance focused on results. Nigeria is greater than any tribe, language, faith, or political party. This book reminds us that one life lived with restraint and responsibility can inspire a nation. True nation building is the work not just of leaders, but of the entire citizenry. I thank the author of this book for enriching our collective memory, for collecting facts and testimonies, and for refusing to reduce a complex life to simple lines. May this book reach widely into classrooms, libraries, and the quiet desk of young Nigerians as they decide what kind of leader they wish to become. My dear brother, President Muhammadu Buhari, though you are no longer with us, your impact endures. We will honor and build upon your legacy, not just by invoking your name, but by delivering results with discipline, compassion, and resolve. May Almighty Allah grant him mercy and Jannatul Firdaus and bring comfort to all of you, the family members, immediately. May he bless Nigeria with unity, wisdom, and peace. Nigeria will endure, prevail, and prosper through our efforts and God's grace. Thank you very much. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I understand for people that want to get the copies of the book, the author will be reaching out, the family will also be reaching out. We have come to the end of this event. I've just been informed that the family would like to have a group photograph with the president.